Welcome back. This is the fourth installment in our movement basics in our standing basics playlist. This is where we start putting things together. Those basic movements that we did, up and down, left and right, and doing the twist, to create 90% of our movements that we are going to do in Tai Chi and Qigong. It all comes out of these three. One major thing that we want to be cautious of when we start doing these movements, and especially when we are compounding them, is to try and keep track of our knees and make sure they are tracking over our toes. So at no point when we are, for instance, shifting our weight, do we want to allow our knees to collapse in or this knee to bow out, right? I want to be doing this sort of thing, putting a whole bunch of stress on the outsides and insides of my knees. And when I am rotating in the hips, right, I want to make sure, especially like if I'm trying to get like an extra degree or two of movement, it's very easy to basically try and throw your hips around more than you have the flexible range for, and you start dragging your knees like this, right? Start dragging your knees left and right. And we can really check for that at all times by making sure we keep a mental connection with where our weight is on our feet. And this is going to allow our knees to essentially do what they were designed to do and track straight over our toes. It is extremely important. Pay extra special attention to it now that we're moving around. And if you are coming to Tai Chi and Qigong because you've got knee issues, this is what you have to pay attention to more than anything else, is making sure that we are always tracking our knees over our toes. As I rotate and I do the twist, this hip here is twisting forward as this hip is twisting backwards, which is essentially driving this knee straight forward over the toes, and it is pulling this knee straight back over the toes. As I shift the other direction and I rotate, this knee is traveling straight forward over those toes, and this knee is pulling straight back over those toes. If you're having any difficulty with this whatsoever, spend extra time just focused on that as you move side to side and rotate, that our knees are always tracking over our toes, because as we start to compound the movements, it is going to be harder for us to keep focused on our knees. So we really want to get to the point where that is second nature to us, and then we can start compounding the movements without having to worry about our knees. It's just instinctive that this is how our knees move. To compound the movements, basically pick any two of them and slap them together. And the way you slap them together is by essentially matching the breath. So as the first two movements that we focused on were the up-down bending of the knees. So I would breathe in as I would sink down and exhale as I go up. Breathe in as I go down and exhale as I go back up. The next movement we did was side to side. So shifting weight left and right, or opposite for you. Just getting that weight shift. But as I came out of center is when I would breathe in, and then I would breathe out, coming back to center. Breathing into one side, breathing out as I come back to center. So sticking those two together, and I would be standing up fairly straight, and I breathe in, I drop down to one side, and I come back up. Breathing in, come back up. So this starts to give me a little bit of a A-frame. So my entire torso is going to descend down on one side and drop. And then my entire torso comes back up to the center and drops down onto the other side. So that's the first level of combining the movements. Now, I don't necessarily have to come back to the center with each one of these. Instead, I could do a complete traversal, so I could shift all of my weight in one breath cycle. And that would look a little something like breathing in as I come down and breathing out. I come up tall, on weight on the other side. Breathing in. And breathing out. Come up nice and tall. Breathing in, drop straight down. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. So that's a couple of different ways you can essentially combine these, and you start getting the squares and X's and all that sort of compound movement of moving our torso basically anywhere we want it to be. You can stay up high, shift to the side, down, straight across, up, do that X. Right. Come back into that nice neutral central place. Stand up out of there. So it enables us to move our body any way we want without actually affecting our upper body or our center of balance in any way. I'm just using this stable platform of my legs, my feet on the ground, and my hips nice and level to be able to shift my body where I need it to go. So that's just compounding up and down, left and right. We can also do some different versions using that exact same thing because in Tai Chi, we don't really like squares so much. We prefer circles. I know there's the saying of squaring the circle, but I'm pretty sure that's a Western thing. In the East, we would say circle the square, at least in Tai Chi class, or my Tai Chi class. We would say circle the square. So to do that, essentially what I'm going to do is as I breathe in, I'm going to move to one side and then neutralize that side movement. And then as I breathe out, move to the other side and neutralize that side movement. And this is going to start to give me a circle. So I'm breathing in on my way down, as I come to the side, and then release that side, still breathing in, breathing out, and then breathing out on the way up to the side, and back to neutral. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. In, out. In, out. So now I have a pretty complete area of freedom that I can move my torso to the side, circles, corners, dropping straight down, straight up, across. Any of these movements, anywhere I want to put my torso, just combining left and right, up and down. I can do that loosely, freely, relaxed, keeping my weight pretty much centered on my feet, always knowing where it is, having incredible connection to the ground. And this is going to enable me to move around throughout my day-to-day life, even just going for a walk in so much more of a stable, connected, less fall prone, just way of being. I'm comfortable in the fact that I know my legs can always grip the ground, and I can get myself centered, and I can move my torso wherever I need it to go. I can control my center of balance. I don't have to throw off my upper body in any way. I can move this totally freely. And because of that, I don't have to worry about falling. Even on the iciest days out there, I can control my center and where it goes. So the last movement in this is the twist. That is the twist going from the hips. And that's going to give us all sorts of corkscrewy type motions. And this is where things get really three-dimensional. And honestly, this is where most of the optical illusions that you will see in Tai Chi, if you start to understand how this movement mechanic works, you'll start looking at people doing Tai Chi and realizing just how lazy they are. That is a lesson for down the road, but just put that in your brain. Tai Chi is a lazy person's art. We're always trying to do things as lazy as possible. And when you start really getting into it, you start noticing the laziness and the laziness of others and how you could possibly be lazier yourself. Most of it comes from the hips. Sinking down into our horse stance, we now have a twisting motion. So this is moving our torso about 45 degrees to one side and about 45 degrees to the other side. So let's combine this with our basic up-down that we were doing. Up-down is I breathe in as I go down, and I exhale as I go up. My inhale was twisting to the side, so twisting to the side and going down. Exhaling, coming back to neutral. Twisting, going down. Exhaling, back to neutral. Twisting, going down. Exhaling, coming back to neutral. Twisting my legs as I go down. Exhaling, back to neutral. So that's just one particular combination. We can do twisting while going side to side. So for instance, we could twist and go this side, twisting and moving to that side at the same time. So you get this sort of thing where you're looking now off on 45 degrees this side, weight over here, and then exhale, coming back to the center, inhaling, twisting to the side, exhale, twist and shift the weight, twist and shift the weight. Now I could also say, for instance, reverse that weight shift. So now I'm going to shift to this side while twisting away, and you get a twist to the other side while shifting your weight here. Twist. Twist. Then you look at various combinations of those. So for instance, I do the first one, and I twist and I shift my weight, then I can just shift my weight. I'm back weighted here now, still twisted. Twist and shift my weight, drop my weight back, bring my weight forward, shift and open, bring my weight forward, shift and open, bring my weight forward. So this is giving me a whole nother dimension of movement where I can move my torso around, I can maintain my center of balance exactly in the center. I don't have to compromise that, I don't have to bend, I don't have to twist. I can just add this dimension of movement at any height. And I can add that into any of the previous two that we were doing. And when you start doing that, you start getting really compound movements where we're, say, dropping, shifting our weight and rotating, moving. And then all of these Tai Chi movements that we do, whatever they are, however we get into them, you're always noticing that this is the thing that is always happening. It doesn't matter what the arms are doing. All of the motion is coming from here. Right? I'm just moving my upper body. I'm moving it up or down. I'm shifting it left or right, and I'm twisting it in one direction or the other. And that is generating every single movement that we do in Tai Chi. So this is the movement alphabet, or phrase book, however you want to think of it. And the real key to learning it is spending time with each one of those particular movements, the up, down, the shifting of the weight left and right, and rotating through the hips. And then combining them in every possible way you can think of. And treat it almost kind of like kids games for yourself. Like when you play hopscotch as a kid, you got the little grid you skip out on. You take a rock and you throw it and you say, I can't do that one. You're giving yourself a little challenge, a little game to see if you can figure out a way of doing something, challenge your balance, challenge your nervous system and musculature and all that sort of stuff. We want to treat it kind of like that. So when we're about to do this practice and we really want to work on these movement fundamentals, we're like, how would I ascend while twisting to the right? How would I descend while keeping everything twisted and to the right? If I were to make a great big circle, what are all the combinations of movement that I need to do to get that to work? And just create yourself little challenges, little mental games, have fun with it. If you aren't smiling, you're working way too hard at this. Literally treat it like a game, like a skill challenge. Figure out cool and interesting ways that you can combine these movements while still maintaining our fundamentals that we've been working on from the beginning of this series. So our hips are going to remain flat. Our weight is going to remain pretty well evenly distributed, or at least, we're not going single weighted or anything like that. But we're always in control of where our weight is going to be. We're always tall through the top of the spine. We're always sinking down through the perineum. Arms are relaxed, doing whatever they do. Doesn't matter, you can leave them at your side entirely. I tend to move them around just because. But play little games with yourself, see what various combinations you can come up with to create cool and interesting movements. Just using those 3 joints, up, down, left, right, and twist. Have fun.